think I'll get a good signal in here?
I think so. Are you on Wi-Fi?
No.
You can
We're already live.
Oh, okay. Well, there you go. Then you have the good signal.
I hope so. Hopefully it lasts. Hey, everybody. This is Jonathan Harmon with the J. Harmon Home Team of Keller Williams with my buddy Salil Rai, fellow Rotarian. That's how I've gotten to know you. And officially, what is it, Deputy Director?
That is the title.
Yeah, Deputy. That sounds important.
I know, that sounds important. And a lot of people call me different titles, but that's what I go by.
Yeah. So that's what's on the door.
That's what's on the door. That's what's on my card, yes.
Here at the Smyrna Airport, or I guess technically it's the Smyrna Rutherford County Airport, right?
Correct.
Okay. And how long have you been up here?
I have been here 2 years and 1 month. I started March of 2017. So it's been a little over 2 years, and time has flown by.
Yeah. You joined Rotary around the same time.
Yep.
And instantly got involved in stuff, and I've had the pleasure of working alongside you a couple times and just seeing you work. You're a hard worker for sure for the community, and that's it's always near and dear to my heart. So I wanted to tell you thank you for that. Now, tell me your background. Give me the Reader's Digest version of Salil.
Well, I'm originally from India, as I guess you can tell by the name and the hair, probably. But so I was born there, and then I moved.
You had to rub in the hair, huh? Didn't you?
The black hair.
No, yeah.
Not
Come on.
Because of that. Well, but yeah, so that's where I'm from, and I moved here several years ago. I think it's been 10 or 12 years now. Went to MTSU, got my education, aviation management, of course, and so go Blue Raiders.
That's right.
And
go Blue.
And then I was working with Southwest Airlines before this, out of BNA.
Yeah.
Did that for a while, and before that I was in Huntsville, Alabama, working airport operations down there. And
what does that mean? Let me interrupt.
Okay, so airport operations. There's a lot of things that go on out on the airfield that many people may not know about. I guess the most basic is inspections of the runway and taxiways. We don't want any FOD out there, which is foreign object debris, which could be a small rock to a bolt or a wildlife out there. So we don't want any of that out on the airfield, because the airfield needs to be pure and pristine. So we do daily inspections, once in the daytime and once in the nighttime, to make sure the pavements are clear of any of this fog.
Because even just a small something, a plane coming in at over 100 miles an hour, it's going to be ugly.
It's going to be ugly, and especially the props that are in front of the planes, and some of the larger planes that have engines under the wing. They're so close to the pavement that you can really suck it in the engine, and that causes big damage. So a lot of that, and making sure the grass is cut, because if the grass is not cut, all the signs and the lights that you see out there on the airfield can be obscured.
Sure.
So if they're obscured, the pilots can see them, and they can maybe go the wrong direction.
So this is one of the best kept lawns in Rutherford County, huh?
Yeah, absolutely. At least we try to keep it that way, and we're required to keep it that way, as per the FAA rules and regs, and so a lot of that, and making sure it's safe out there. So that's a lot of what airport operations is about, and so that's what I used to do in Huntsville International Airport in Alabama.
Yeah.
And
I have some good friends in Huntsville, by the way.
Yeah, I love that city.
It's a great city.
I spent a couple of years there, and it was just, I had the best time.
Yeah.
Really made some really good friends, and it's a cool place, the Rocket City. And I was actually, a cool fact about me is when I was doing my master's from MTSU in aerospace, John Black, the executive director,
right.
He teaches at MTSU as an adjunct professor. So I took a couple of his classes, and that's where I met him the first time. And so I was actually 4 summers ago, I was an intern at this very airport. And so John hired me back then, and I just loved it here, and then I was at the right time, right place again, and so he hired me again.
Nice.
So
I bet he's a great teacher, isn't he?
He is a great teacher, a great, mentor, and he's just a wonderful guy. He has a really big heart.
Yeah.
And he knows a thing or two. So.
He is incredibly smart.
Yes, sir.
And smart and educated.
Yep.
And there is a difference,
There is a
and he's both. So That's rare. I tend to think that I'm fairly educated, but sometimes I'm not all that smart.
I'm right there with you.
Yeah, so it happens.
Yeah.
But okay, well,
Yeah.
so fantastic. So Huntsville to B&A to here, and what do you do here? So deputy director, what does that mean?
Okay, so a lot of things. Like I mentioned, the airport ops, right? Airport operations. So we have an operations department here at this airport. So, and they also have a public safety department, which is the aircraft rescue and firefighting department.
That's the big green trucks, right?
That's the big green trucks, and we have a couple of those. So if there's anything that, if there's an incident, we are ready to respond, make sure no lives are lost and minimum damages occurred. So all those departments are under me. So make sure those departments are running smoothly. They're making sure all the FAA rules and regs are being followed. And so that happens on a daily basis. A lot of the other things that I do on a daily basis is multiple projects going on at Smyrna Airport. There's a lot of pavement that we have.
Yes.
There's a lot of hangars that we have. So with all this, comes a lot of maintenance.
Yeah, I saw the X out there. So you
Right.
guys have a runway shut down right now.
So runway 119, which is our secondary runway, it's 5,500 feet long. And so that's closed because we're doing some crack repair and seal coat and all that type of work. So that'll be closed for a couple of more weeks before they're done with that project. So that's going on. Then we have some other projects going on the airfield. While we have that runway closed, we want to get as much work done on that runway as possible because we don't like to have runways closed.
Right.
Because obviously it becomes a problem with the air traffic. Especially the other primary runway that we have. If you have crosswinds on that runway, then it really gets hard for pilots to land smoothly.
Mm-hmm.
And so we runway 119 is a crosswind runway for us.
They make
It's basically an intersecting runway. So this one is open. If there's crosswinds going across this, then you would want to use the other runway. So that's when that comes into play. And so a lot of that managing projects, one of the things that I have to do in managing projects is making sure I know what the project is. And there's a big, thick spec books that go with each project. So I have to really read through it and make sure I know what I'm talking about, because if I'm asking the contractor to do a certain thing, I need to be right in the first place. So
sure.
A lot of that, and a lot of reading, different policies, and work with John Black again, with airport policies and budget. We're in the process of making a budget for the coming fiscal year that starts on July 1st. So that's also going on. And
is the tower under your purview?
Yes, it is. They do. So there are separate, company. The employees are not owned, the employees are not Airport Authority employees. They're separate company owns the employees, but the building and all the equipment that we have in that tower belongs to Smyrna Airport.
Mm-hmm.
So this is a federal contract airport tower, which is a little different than the regular towers that you'll see at B&A or some of the larger commercial airports. Difference being that FAA owns those towers at B&A or Knoxville or Memphis, some of the bigger airports. But this tower here is operated by a third-party company, a private company, which is sort of contracted out by the FAA. So it's a third-party company that's operating this tower. It's really technically not the FAA directly, even though indirectly it is, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
That's interesting. I guess in the hierarchy of airports, you've got your big, gigantic, massive commercial, huge ones.
Yeah.
And then you got, several steps down all the way to just the single grassy airfield, right?
Yep.
And the FAA has to manage all of that, so.
Pretty much manage all of them. And, talking about the different airports, we are number 4 in that list in the state of Tennessee.
Yeah.
So, Memphis is the busiest in the state because of FedEx.
Mm-hmm.
Then there's Nashville is the second busiest because of Southwest and other airlines. Nashville is growing like crazy, which helps us a little bit because some of the corporate aviation overflows here.
Mm-hmm.
And third of that list is Knoxville. And then we're the 4th busiest state and the 1st busiest airport in the state of Tennessee.
I didn't know that. I guess I assumed Chattanooga was.
We're actually busier than Chattanooga.
Wow.
Yeah, much busier than
Quite a bit,
Chattanooga.
huh?
Quite a bit.
That's interesting. I had a buddy that was a pro pilot major back when I was in school. We were roommates.
Yeah.
And he flew on some of his stuff for school. He flew in and out of Chattanooga a couple of times, and he said that was a scary airport.
Yeah.
'Cause I guess there's a mountain close by or
There
something.
is. Yeah, there is a mountain. I've never flown there myself, but yeah, I've driven past the airport many times. I've been to the airport, so yeah, there's some mountains out there. So
Yeah.
I want to be clear of that.
He said you got to make sure you're watching.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I guess you should do that anyway. But
Right.
okay, so you mentioned some projects going on here at the airport. What are some things that are happening? I mean, the average citizen's going to drive by. They're going to see some planes landing and some stuff flying around. They don't realize just how big this property is, for one thing, and then B, what all happens here. All the different companies that have space here, and then the business park and all the things that you guys have going on right here. I mean, I bet most people didn't realize there's a solar farm on the airport. That's crazy.
We have a 1 megawatt solar farm on the east side of the airport.
Yeah, it's awesome.
It is amazing.
Yeah.
I believe in sustainability, both financial and environmental, so I am a big proponent of anything sustainable. So solar farm is definitely an awesome thing that we have in the airport, and it's one of the best utility meters that we have. It runs backwards. So.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
So I don't have to pay for it. But that's definitely a thing, and talking about the size of the airport, we are 1,700 acres.
See, I would never have guessed that.
1,700 acres.
That's a lot.
Massive. And out of that, approximately 850 acres is inside the fence, which we call the air side, and then the land side, which is outside the fence, is the rest of it. And I don't know if a lot of people don't know this. The park, Lee Victory Park, is owned by the Smyrna Rutherford County Airport Authority.
I didn't know that.
And the golf course right here on the other side of the airport is also owned by the Smyrna Rutherford County Airport Authority.
That's fascinating.
So all of that
is that in the 1,700 acres?
That is in the 1,700. Okay. And although we lease the golf course and the park back to the town, and so they manage everything and make sure it's kept up and all that. But that is definitely owned by us.
Now, the airport property goes all the way to Murfreesboro Road. Is that correct?
Correct.
So is it Grogan or Gogan or whatever it is?
Well, no, it doesn't go to Murfreesboro. It goes right here to Industrial Parkway.
Okay.
So Industrial Parkway on the west of Industrial Parkway, it's town property. East of Industrial Parkway is or
airport.
Industrial Boulevard, I think it is airport property. So anything on this side is airport, and then Fitzhugh on the other side is Fitzhugh Boulevard. Anything on the west of that is.
So, like where the National Guard Armory is not actually airport property?
National Guard owns a piece of the pie of this whole land, and that's not included in the 1,700 acres, but they own that small piece of land right there where they operate.
Rehab center, for example.
A rehab center. I'm not sure who owns that. That's not ours. That's not us for sure. I know that. But
Gotcha.
I'm not sure who owns
So
it.
Fitzhugh is the edge.
Fitzhugh is the dividing line right there. Yeah,
interesting.
Pretty much.
Yeah, I've talked to John about it before, and I didn't even realize it was that big. And it goes all the way to the lake, the other way, right?
Pretty much, yeah. The back end, the fence line that we have on the north side of the airport is the boundary between Smyrna and Laverne.
Mm-hmm.
So, and on the eastern side, it pretty much goes to the lake, at least a part of the lake.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of area that's still not developed, and we have big plans for it going forward. We're actually in the process of doing the airport master plan right now, which we do again once in 10 or 12 years, looking at 10, 15 years down the line, what we want the airport to be, what the town wants the airports to be, and so it's a lot of public involvement in that. And we've had a couple of public meetings actually in the past few months, and a lot of public has come out to the airport, talk to us about what they think is the best, and just learn more about the airport. It's a constant learning opportunity.
Well, needs change. The population changes.
Exactly.
The Nashville population changes. Mm-hmm. The Rutherford County population, et cetera. So I've always wondered this. Who is this a public facility? First question. And then second, so obviously you got the airport authority. Mm-hmm. Who do they operate under? Is it a Rutherford County government entity,
yes.
or?
So yes, we are a public entity, and so Smyrna Rutherford County Airport Authority was formed in 1991. So essentially, the parents for the Smyrna Airport are Rutherford County and Town of Smyrna. So they are the two parents that we have, and they appoint the board, the 5-member board, and so that's how the operations work.
So it's not necessarily like, say, under Rutherford County Commission or anything like that, but it's its own governing body, and it was created out of a cooperation with Rutherford County and Smyrna.
Correct. That is correct. And,
Okay.
Yeah, that's how we operate.
That's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
So, all right. So, spill the beans, man. What are some projects that
Projects
are in the
going on?
near future? How about that?
Near future. All right. Well, we have the primary runway 1432, which is 8,048 feet long and 150
Second or third longest in the state, right?
I believe so, second or third. Yeah, but
Yeah.
it's big enough to land anything.
Right.
747, you guys have probably already seen, that comes during the winter time to park here
Yeah.
for a few months. So
C5s.
C5, C17s, with KC-135s. I mean, I can go on and on.
Yeah.
But it can land pretty much anything. It's pretty long.
Yeah.
And so we're doing some preventative maintenance in that. Over time, cracks start to appear.
Sure.
And so you want to catch it before it sort of, there's a graph, the graph goes, slowly, steadily is going down, but after a certain time, it just drastically dips. So you want to catch it before it drastically starts dipping and do some preventative maintenance to, elongate the life of the pavement. So we have that going on. That's going to be after the air show. But some other pavement repairs. And
I want to hear the big stuff.
the biggest stuff that's going on right now is the master plan, really, and it decides what we want to do, which path do we want to take going forward, and so we're definitely knee deep into that, and that's really the biggest project that's going on right now.
Well, you got the warehouses that are being built, or some are built, right?
Yeah.
So moving in some private industrial type and distribution type
Yeah.
business.
Yep.
Are more of those being built, or?
So right now we have 3 buildings back there. It's on Industrial Boulevard and Aviation Parkway. 3 different Hillwood buildings. And now Hillwood is the partner that we partnered with. They're a company out of Texas. And so they did the financing, and they built the buildings, and they leased the land from us. So they've built 3 buildings, and they're huge buildings. One of them is 600,000 square foot. Then there's a 300,000 square foot. They're all warehouse buildings, and so there are a total of 3. And they have plans of building a 4th one also. Now this is amazing, and it's amazing for the airport's financial stability going forward.
Land leases, there's no maintenance.
There's no maintenance. Yeah. So one of those buildings has currently NFI leased that building, and which is a distributor for Lowe's Home Improvement. So they do some large appliances, and if you go in there, you'll see refrigerators, microwaves, washers and dryers. All that stuff is stacked in there. So they are leasing one of those 500-something thousand square foot space, and now Hillwood is working on leasing some of the other buildings also, and then there's plans of building the 4th one. So that piece of the pie, we call it the industrial part. So we have dedicated that property for industrial development, and that's exactly what we're doing with it. So we could not be more happy.
That's awesome.
With Hillwood.
Let's talk about Hollingshead. They just made a big move over here. So tell me about that.
Hollingshead has been a great great addition to the airport. Now Hollingshead Aviation is their FBO, which is a fixed base operator. They provide all types of different services, from aircraft maintenance to fueling to parking, and you can also charter airplanes with them, from them. They own airplanes, and you can also do some flight training with them. So they have a flight school by the name ATP. It's a global flight school that trains a lot of the students to sort of it's not just a recreational pilot training. It's geared towards you becoming a first officer in an airline. So they have dedicated trainers and all of that good stuff. So they are a great addition. They've been expanding a lot. They've recently built 2 new hangars, which are 29,000 square foot storage hangars.
Wow.
And they are massive, and can store up to, depending on the size of the airplane, anything from 10 to 12 airplanes in there. One hangar is that big, and
That's a big hangar.
That is a big hangar, and so they've made two of such hangars, and they have plans of making 4 or 5 or 6 more of such type hangars. And there's a big shortage of storage area in Middle Tennessee. So
Covered, right? I mean, you can park it on tarmac.
You can park it on tarmac, but most people would like to obviously store it indoors. So there's a lot of shortage of covered parking for airplanes in Middle Tennessee, and I guess all over the state. I've heard it from so many different airport managers. They have a waiting list of people, and the FBOs here at Smyrna Airport have waiting list of people that would move in if we have some space. So, but we're 100% occupancy pretty much. Like I said, the hangar storage is full. Now we have some office spaces also that we lease. They are full, and so it is. It's a great time to be here.
Yeah, it's a good spot to be. It sounds like.
It's absolutely.
Well, the management's great, so you can't usually say that. So one of my favorite things here, I got to tour the airport one time with John.
Yeah.
And one of my favorite things that's here, I don't know why I'm so enamored with this, but you guys have a blimp hangar here, and they do blimp repair and kind of rest, like a rest stop essentially for blimps.
Pretty much. Yeah.
So tell me about that. It was super cool. We went in. The hangar's really old, but it's a great. Like the design of it is really cool, and that's why they can put the blimps in there.
Yeah, it is the biggest hangar that we have at Smyrna Airport. It's a hangar 634, and so the blimps stay in there. They come. This is their maintenance hub, their southeast maintenance hub at least, and so they're flying different routes all over the country, and down in Florida they. All different locations covering different events like golf tournaments and and all those things, and they come back here to do maintenance on it. And one of the cool facts that I heard from the blimp crew was one of the things, surprisingly, that they maintain or fix. The first things that come out here and fix are bullet holes.
Yeah, that's what John said. That blew my mind.
Yeah, so I guess some.
He said that basically, he said especially over Texas, big surprise, right? As I'm from Texas, so ranchers or whatever, they'll go out and just shoot at blimps.
Yeah, I guess
that's crazy.
A big moving target. I don't know, but yeah,
there's people in it.
I know, and so we have a big maintenance hub for them here, and we love having them here, and they fly different routes, like I said, and they're good people.
Yeah. When I got to see it, there was a Hendrix Gin blimp in there, and it was super cool. Yeah. And he said it wasn't even close to one of the biggest ones. It was a pretty small one.
Yeah, there are a couple in that hangar. Every once in a while, there will be 2 in that hangar, and just one's a massive one, and one's a little smaller. So
but even small, they're enormous.
Don't get me wrong, they're massive.
Yeah,
the small ones are too. Yes.
Very cool. Yeah. All right. Let's talk air show, man.
Yeah, air show's coming up, man. I'm so pumped.
Yeah.
It's going to be huge, June 8th and 9th, and Blue Angels are coming back, so I'm excited for that.
For sure. Who else is going to be here?
We have the performer list is long and strong, and you can always go online to www.Great Tennessee Air Show, and you'll see the lineup. And but from the top of my head, the Blues are coming, their Geico Skytypers are coming.
They're cool.
They're cool. They're awesome. I actually just saw them past week, and I was down in Savannah, and they had an air show there. But they were awesome. Rob Holland, is one of the best, And Adam Baker he flies a small aerobatic plane, and does all sorts of crazy things with it. Adam Baker, Patty Wagstaff is a lady that flies, and some F-16, the Thunderbird F-16, the Air Force demo. So there'll be a single F-16 flying for us here, and then.
Are they doing what do they call it, the honor flight? I'm looking over here at your Corsair picture.
Yeah. So
is that's going to be here too, right?
That is going to be here too, and it's going to be with a P-51 Mustang, and I forget the other one.
Because I saw was it an F-15 and a Corsair that flew together at the one of the last ones? Oh, man.
But there's going to be, it's known as a heritage flight.
Yeah.
But, from the oldest airplane to the newest airplane.
Right.
It's super cool. And
it is so cool.
again, that's showing our, thanks to all the men and women that have served and are still serving. So that'd be awesome, and we are definitely going to have that this year.
Great.
Yeah.
What about, I think the last time there was a demo from, I think it was an F22, wasn't it?
Correct.
Are we going to have any surprises like that?
No, F22 is not going to be here this year.
35 maybe?
Maybe. Sort of working on it, so nothing's set in stone right now, but well, more to be heard on that.
I got you.
And but the lineup is awesome. Then there's a great amount of static displays that we're going to have.
Do you know what are you going to have a C5 again?
Maybe not C5, but the C17, which is again a massive airplane, a huge airplane. And then KC-135, again, it's huge. And we're going to have some of the smaller fighter jets, some helicopters, some STEM stuff for kids. It's going to be really cool STEM stuff out here for kids and adults to also enjoy. And so static lineup is also going to be huge.
I love that.
We were working on the planning for it. Where to put the C-17, where to put because there's a lot of logistics that work into it. So the ramp it's a massive ramp, and it's full.
Mm-hmm.
It's bursting actually. So we had to keep, I think, a couple of planes right outside the crowd fence, so you can still actually see it, but you probably won't be able to go and feel it.
So what's your favorite military airplane?
Oh,
it's a no-brainer for me.
Really?
Yeah, and the one that I love is ugly and slow.
What's that?
That's all right. No, you first.
Okay, me first. All right. Well, I do like some of the bigger machines, like the C-17s.
Yeah.
They're massive, and they're a beast, and they can do a lot of things that people won't even imagine that they can do.
They're impressive, aren't they?
Quick turns,
it's a feat of
and
engineering.
They can land, and every time one such big airplane takes off, I'm like, wow,
that shouldn't happen.
That shouldn't happen. It's crazy. And like I was just saying, I was down in Savannah just this past weekend, and I was down there for an air show that they had the C-17 demo. And that guy did some maneuvers that I was just my jaw was wide open. I was like, wow,
yeah.
It's so surprising. So C-17 is good, and so some of the fighter jets, F-22s, F-18s are obviously awesome. But
I'm A-10 all the way.
Yeah, A-10.
They're so slow and ugly, but good gracious, they are.
A-10s are coming.
They are?
They are.
Like a group of them?
Yeah. They're gonna fly.
Yeah.
So their sound, you can
they're,
even if you're not looking at them, you know it's them.
Yeah.
It just makes that.
I mean, it's a plane built around a cannon.
Yeah.
I mean, come on.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah. A-10s are awesome.
Yeah, they're my favorite.
Awesome.
They're just monsters.
Good. They're gonna be here, so you'll enjoy them.
That's exciting.
Yeah.
So website for that. There's all kinds of different ticket packages. People can do the little airstrip. What do you call it?
The Flight Line Club.
Yeah.
Which is the top notch.
It's like catered and all kinds of stuff, isn't it?
Yeah, all kind of stuff. Some nice royal bathrooms just for you, and food and drinks, and shaded tables. With.
Did you put in for good weather?
Yes, I've already applied for that. It's approved. So we're going to have good weather. We've had enough rain in the past few months that I think I'm hoping for really good weather.
Good.
Knock on wood.
Yes, for sure.
And so that's going to be awesome. But yeah, you can go buy tickets, www.greattennesseeairshow.com, and pick which tickets you want. And
then the fancy ones sell out fast.
They do, and we are online only this year.
Okay.
That's what we're going towards. Is
so nothing at the gate.
Nothing at the gate. So I would recommend people buying their tickets online, and there are different seating options that you can obviously select from. So it's online only, and right now we've sold almost $145,000 worth of tickets.
Wow!
As of yesterday morning.
And that's early.
And that's early. There's still 30 plus days out. And we're actually doing much better than we were, last year's show this time. So the sales are definitely up, and I would recommend everybody to buy their tickets because they will sell out. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. It's so much fun. I've been coming to the air show here for years. I mean, decades. And it's just I don't know, there's just like a buzz around town.
Yeah.
You know, especially that week leading up, and that
Yep.
everybody's showing up and they're practicing. It's
Yeah.
like, oh yeah,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
it's just awesome.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
All right, last thing.
Yeah.
Whenever I have a Rotarian on here, I want to talk about Rotary a little bit,
Absolutely.
and just how the club serves the community and that kind of thing. Obviously, John is a huge part of our club. So, how hard was it hit for him to arm twist you to come join the club?
No, it wasn't hard at all. It wasn't hard at all. And I remember he mentioned something about Rotary Club, and I just said, "Sign me up."
Yeah.
You know, it was that easy that I didn't have to think about it, because giving back to the community is very close to my heart, and I love to do it. And so it's been a wonderful journey with Rotary. It's been almost 2 years, and
Yeah.
time flies. So Rotary is awesome. It does things a lot for the community, and you already know this. And and just the past weekend we had the stream cleanup, and so I saw some pictures. Unfortunately, I couldn't make it out there, but
And we do those 2-3 times a year.
2-3 times a year, correct?
Yeah.
And stuff like that, small things, and some of the bigger things like the fish fry.
Yeah.
It's one of the biggest events, which is coming up, folks. So
It was the favorite charity event in Rutherford County
Really?
on
In
the
the most recent-
Ruthie's or whatever.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
How
Nice.
cool is that?
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, we need to, I guess, advertise that.
Yeah.
also. But that's cool, and doesn't surprise me, but it's awesome. It's a lot of people that put a lot of effort into that event. Not just that one day, for setting up and cleaning up. It's the phone calls before that to get sponsorships, and it's very important to support, our local community. And I feel Rotary Club does that very nicely.
Yeah. So if you're interested, the fish fry's coming up. It's the Saturday after September 11th this year,
Correct.
right? Like the 14th, is that
I
right?
believe so.
I think that's right. Whatever that Saturday is.
Yeah.
Last year we had about 2,000 attendees. Raised almost $170,000, like 168
Yeah,
or something.
Yep.
And every bit of that goes back into the community through various grants that we send out to different organizations in the
Correct.
community. So if you're interested in being a sponsor, we would love to have you.
Absolutely.
J Harmon Home Team always sponsors for sure, and we recruit several others to come sponsor as well. So hit me or Salil or John or really any Smyrna Rotarian up for that. And the last thing on that, there's a project coming. I'm sure you are involved in this as
Correct.
well. Robert Stevens has been kind of spearheading this a little bit, but the Rotary Club has taken the task to help build an all-inclusive playground.
Which is awesome.
It's fantastic, and it's going to be right across the street from the airport.
Correct.
Kind of in between Lee Victory Park and the town center, in that wooded area there. And it's going to be really cool. So if you're familiar with Miracle Field, for example, in Murfreesboro, that playground that's there is going to be somewhat similar to that similar concept.
Yeah.
And be paying attention. We're going to have some pretty big fundraisers for that.
I believe they had a couple of public meetings or something
They have?
of that nature, showed the renderings, and it just looks fantastic.
And it's going to be awesome. Something that this community really needs,
Absolutely.
I think.
Yep.
And I'm super excited to be part of that as well. So again, if you're interested, let us know, and we'll get you in touch with the right folks.
Yep.
So anything else?
No, that's really it. The air show's coming up, so definitely go get your tickets. And there's a lot of different ways that you can help the community and be a part of. To just give your bit. A lot of people are looking for that little thing that they can do to just do their part for the community. And a lot, just like you mentioned, the all-inclusive park is coming up. The Wings of Freedom Fish Fry is coming up. So all these things you can do your little part and help the community, which is awesome. Which will give you a nice feeling.
One thing you made me think about this, and we're running a little long, but
No, that's okay.
it's all right. I shared a TED Talk the other day, right? It's almost become cliche to say that, but I shared one.
Yeah.
And it kind of inspired me a little bit. And it was a guy talking about, he called it Lollipop Moment.
Yeah.
And he was talking about how he was in college and he was involved in the community at his school, and this girl comes up to him at graduation and says, hey, I just wanted to thank you. I'm graduating because of you. And he didn't even really know who she was.
Right.
And said that, you know, she had, the day that she got to campus and was doing her orientation or what have you, she was ready to quit. She was fish out of water, right? And he walked up and said, hey, I'm glad you're here, handed her a lollipop.
Wow.
And said, you know, you are in exactly the right place, kind of one of those things. He didn't even remember it.
Right.
He had no idea what he
Wow.
was, you know, about it. And she said, I stayed because of that. And so, you know, we always want to try to impact the world or you know, the larger community. And really, what we should be focused on is just impacting someone else.
Yeah.
Right? Just helping someone else have a great day.
Yep. And it's very contagious. You know,
It is.
Yeah, I'll help you, and you'll be motivated, and just, you know, in a positive mood, you'll go out there and you'll, you know, help this other person. And it just, you know, it just goes around, and that's how we make this world a better place for the next generation.
Well, and I feel like your organization, you and John, and your crew that's here, really, you guys have embraced that. Whether you meant to or not,
Yeah.
y'all have embraced that, and this is definitely a positive. Is a little crown gem in the north part of Rutherford County.
Yeah.
So
our team is awesome. You know, there are people from all different places, and they're just the nicest people ever. And so we believe in community, and this is a community airport. I call this, you know, our airport. And it's not my airport. It's not his airport who's flying here. It's our airport. You know, a good part of Rutherford County. So you know, we just want to help the community, and, you know, let the community come in here if they want to come out and just hang out at the patio downstairs, have your lunch. Hey, more than welcome to.
yeah,
And just
careful, man. I might start haunting this place.
Do that. Get some extra lunch. I'll join you. But you know, I just want people to come out here and just experience the airport.
And I keep saying this, but the last thing you did mention, that school groups are doing field trips here, right?
So I think it's part of their curriculum. They talk about STEM, and, you know, under that they come out to the airport, and we give them, you know, a tour of the hangar, talk to them about airplanes, theory of flight, how planes fly, and, you know, they see planes and they get excited, and, you know, they click pictures. So we spend some good time, you know, roughly 45 minutes with them. And then, you know, they come out here on the terminal, and then you see the fire trucks and all that. So all those kids, you know, first graders, second graders, they're super excited when they come out here.
Yeah.
And then they go down to the memorial, and I believe the school does talks to them, or I believe sometimes the mayor has met them out there at the memorial.
Mayor
and talked
Reed.
to them. Mayor Reed has.
Yep.
And so
Shout out to Mayor Reed.
yeah,
Love
I
her.
mean, she's awesome.
She is.
I love her. And so yeah, the schools come out here from all over the Rutherford County, and you know, we love having the schools here. So if you guys want to have your schools out here, or, you know, if you want your kids out here, just get in touch with your schools. You know, they'll get in touch with us through that curriculum that they have, and we'll be glad to have them. Absolutely.
That's awesome.
Yep.
Salil, I appreciate you,
Thanks,
man.
John.
I appreciate all you guys do,
Yeah.
and in this facility. So, thanks for watching. If you have any questions, put it in the comments. I'll make sure it gets to Salil, or
Yep.
you can also call the airport authority and
Absolutely.
talk to these guys directly. So,
Yes.
appreciate you, man.
Yeah. No problem.
Have a good rest of the day.